As an old soldier, he will not, as General MacArthur said, just fade away. He will die with his boots on. He will make a stirring address to you this morning. Please welcome Major General Robert E. Wagner.
Thank you, Harry. Harry's a magnificent American himself, #1 in the class of '57. Very successful person. It's a great honor for me to be here today and talk to you. You're a very important group for the security of our great nation. And now, cadets, Marshall Award winners, and as the first commanding general of Cadet Command, an event that occurred over 20 years ago, I salute you all. Your final adventure in Cadet Command Army Leadership Development as a cadet is now almost behind you. You're about to be the proud commissioned graduates of the toughest leadership development training in the history of our Army. This experience was tough because the Army requires tough leaders to face the grave challenges that face our nation and continue to face our nation. We heard that yesterday from our Chief of Staff, correct? And who's going to lead those soldiers? Never forget, you are. And you will successfully meet these challenges as proven Army officer leaders because you have learned here from Cadet Command will stay with you. It will stay with you. Your performance over the past cadet years has epitomized what the Army officership must be. You must have the right stuff. Got it? You must have the right stuff. And you have the right stuff. Bold, brave, professional, and dedicated to those values that make our nation great. When we address the Army theme, Army Strong, this theme has absolute historical validity. The Army, meaning each of you, matters. You represent the future leadership of our service, the boots-on-the-ground capability that is absolutely pivotal to national security. And these are dangerous days, right? Your world, your professional environment remains a hugely dangerous place, mostly because of international terrorism. I was going to read a list of several trouble spots, but I know you know these as well as I do, particularly Afghanistan. I also know you will do your duty because of who you are, commissioned Army officers, and your Cadet Command training. I will add here, be flexible. Our strategic environment demands this. Remember training, because you don't get there without training, do you? You've got to be prepared, and the soldiers you're responsible for have got to be prepared too. An Army either trains or it fights, and it fights only as well as it trains. This function is the living breath of our service. And here I'm not merely addressing simulation and information technology. We all love to talk about that stuff, right? I mean, on occasion, we must shoot real bullets and conduct actual maneuver confrontational exercises that replicate, duplicate real combat experience. So when you're shot at for the first time, this is not a total amazement. You all with me so far? Can you all hear me? Wonderful. Remember the friendships that have been forged by your Cadet Command experience, particularly during Warrior Forge. The respect you feel for your Cadet Battalion members provides the foundation for the winning team the Army must be. And you all remember Warrior Forge, don't you? I want to leave you with some thoughts in the extremely relevant context that Cadet Command commissions the majority, the vast majority of our Army officer corps comes right from you. We live in a world of professional jointness, but within this joint arena, the Army remains the operative strategic force. I say that again. The Army remains the operative strategic force, particularly in the war on terrorism, and never forget that. Do we need sea power? Of course. We need to get there. We also require air superiority. I haven't noticed that they have great air. But all cadets and members of our service must study military history In all our national conflicts, the Army does much of the heavy lifting, including the war, our revolution. Take a look at it. Only our service, because of our unique, quote, boots on the ground, close combat capability, has the capacity to impose our national will and the objectives of our allies on the enemy. The operations currently being conducted in the Middle East provide an example of this capability that has been apparent through history. We're as good as our Army, and you matter. Recall the cadet and soldier creed. Always remember, honor is my touchstone. I understand duty first. I understand duty first, and people always. And never forget that you are a guardian of freedom and the American way of life. You are an American soldier, and you will lead other American soldiers. Leadership, leadership, leadership. Don't ever forget that word. Taking care of the people entrusted to your command is a profound officer responsibility. Again and again and again, you make the Army strong. And the training you get here in this magnificent organization is absolutely essential, mostly due to your magnificent commanding general, General Bartell. Let's give him a hand, incidentally. Remember your non-commissioned officers. This is a relationship that makes the Army work. Shortly, many of you will meet the most important person you will ever encounter, and that is your first platoon sergeant. That matters. The development of this important relationship will exert a strong influence on your professional future, and in a larger sense, the officer and non-commissioned officer leadership nexus that makes our entire Army work. Finally, and this is important, reflect on the spiritual basis of your commission. In the near future, you will swear to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. All enemies, foreign and domestic. Understand what that means. Those of us who follow the profession of arms bear a sacred trust to defend those values that make our nation great. God bless you all, and the best of Army luck in participating in the grand adventure that is the United States Army. And remember, Army combat luck supported by relevant training and moral direction is unbeatable. Army combat luck supported by relevant training and moral direction is unbeatable. And it must always remain unbeatable because the security of our great nation largely depends on your performance. So train to lead. Are you with me? Train to lead. Now, in closing, and I like to close dramatically, but remember some of my words. You matter a great deal. We had a very great conversation with our Chief of Staff, and he covered a lot of things. One thing I want to emphasize is that you are the keystone to readiness. And if we don't have a ready fighting officer corps in the United States Army, we are going nowhere. Now, I think we all believe we're going somewhere, and I'm going to lead you in a hooah yell. The hooah yell is a yell of old cavalry tradition, and it means future moral victory. We are going to deliver it to keep our nation free and safe. Are you ready? All right. Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3, hooah! Thank you all, and God bless you.